The Good Place is a TV sitcom that ran on NBC between 2016 and 2020. You've probably seen it, or at least heard about it. It's funny and smart, and oddly enough, based in some pretty interesting philosophical questions.
Are we sure we should be paying attention to these guys? It's like who died and left Aristotle in charge of ethics?
Plato.
If you haven't seen the show, just know that this video is full of spoilers. So if you need to stop, now's your chance. Still with us? Okay. A quick recap. The Good Place has a lot of characters, but it largely centers around four main ones who, well, die at the beginning.
You, Eleanor Shellstrop, are dead.
Cool.
Their names are Eleanor, Chidi, Tahani, and Jason, and all of them get their own version of the same thing, a seemingly magical utopia of all the stuff they already like, just on steroids. And at first, this seeming utopia is amazing. Eleanor gets a shrimp fountain, Chidi has endless access to philosophy books, Tahani owns a gorgeous palace, and Jason can, well, be Jason forever.
This is the dream.
It is?
Yeah.
Not only are they immortal, but none of them ever need to go to work, and there is no scarcity of any kind. So what happens in the show? Well, put simply, they're all unhappy. Immediately. Why? Why doesn't this utopia make them happy? They have everything they could possibly want. What more do they need? Well, it turns out human beings don't actually find happiness by getting everything they've ever wanted for free. In fact, assuming that someone could know whatever individuals want is actually hellish. Turns out that's called socialism, and it doesn't make us happy, and never has. While The Good Place might be fanciful, it has roots in philosophical thought. In fact, the show's creator, Mike Schur, said explicitly that he wanted philosophy to be baked into the very center of the show. And while the show has a lot of philosophical underpinnings, one comparison in particular piqued our interest. That comparison is with a 2009 book by Jerry Cohen entitled Why Not Socialism? In his book, Jerry Cohen compares society to a camping trip, where the goal of the participants is to be happy and have a good time. In pursuit of this, the campers all own their resources collectively, and everyone does everything with an eye toward the greater good. One person fishes, somebody else makes food, another person cooks, etc. Even though the people are all different, their common aim of happiness unites them. Since there is no scarcity here, nobody owns anything, and everyone shares a common sense of who uses what and when. It is very similar to The Good Place. And just like The Good Place, it's destined for failure. Here's why. As the show goes on, it becomes clearer and clearer that heaven is far from heavenly. What seems like beautiful harmony at first only exists because everyone is being forced to act in an extremely specific way, destroying any sense of freedom they have. Eleanor has to live in a way that she would never have chosen on Earth. Chidi is surrounded by so much learning that his natural difficulty making decisions destroys him. Tahani is constantly comparing herself with others. And Jason has to pretend to be a silent mock in order to fit in, which means he can't be himself at all.
You should listen to me. I came up with hundreds of plans in my life, and only one of them got me killed.
In fact, none of them can do anything they're not supposed to do. They can't even swear.
Somebody royally forked up. Somebody forked up. Why can't I say fork?
And this, well, doesn't make humans happy. We like making our own decisions, caring for the people we love, and taking care of ourselves in the best way we see fit. When we're forced to fit into a mold this specific, it not only breaks us, it starts breaking society. In fact, in the show, this is how the characters realize that the good place is actually the bad place. It's not a heavenly paradise, but it's actually a hell designed to torment them forever. Neither the good place nor socialism recognize humans for what they are, individuals with different needs, desires, and levels of selfishness. Both want to build a society on how they think humans should behave, not how they actually do. And when you do that, it's not only patronizing and unrealistic, It breaks society. Except instead of sinkholes and flying garbage, like in The Good Place, with socialism, it's generally mass executions, prison camps, and famine. So, if The Good Place doesn't lead to happiness, does the actual bad place do any better? Of course not. In the show, Eleanor says that she wishes there was a medium place, i.e., a place where normal humans with normal desires, selfishness, and attitudes could go.
A medium place? Dude, that's where I belong. I've been saying that since day one.
And while the medium place in the show doesn't end up being a place you'd want to be either, the core of what she says is very true. This is what capitalism is. By serving as a more realistic place for normal people that reacts to good and bad incentives, capitalism ends up being a better place than the good place. Here's how. Let's go back to the camping trip. The goal of the camping trip is for everyone to have a good time and cooperate all the time, which is why goods are shared, everyone is given jobs, things are spread out equally. But you don't need socialism to achieve this. A capitalist camping trip would have everything the socialist one did. A sense of belonging, a common ideal, justice, equality of opportunity, and so on. But here's the thing a capitalist camping trip would have that the socialist one does not. Freedom, and the ability to pursue one's own happiness through their own means in a scarce environment. Here's what that means. If someone lives in a society where they have been given everything they want or need for free, they aren't really going to care about it or push themselves to make it better. Furthermore, even if they did want these things, they wouldn't have the freedom to pursue them. And the thing about a free market, it recognizes that most people want the same things. We want to have enough of the things we need. We want security, friendship, togetherness, and peace. If everyone is allowed to freely pursue those things for themselves, society will be secure, peaceful, and prosperous. But it will also be free. And it will be these things even if not everyone in the society is morally perfect.
Whatever. It's easy when you're just born perfect.
Of course, if everyone in the society is morally perfect, that makes things all the better. But the free market arranges society for real humans, not just the saints among us. As we see in the show, the first good place is actually designed to torture people with unrealistic expectations, without taking their circumstances or personalities into consideration. Cohen's socialist camping trip is very similar to that good place. It requires everyone to act perfectly, according to a socialist morality, and this does not allow people to live freely. Instead of making them happy, this makes them more miserable than anything else ever would. Eleanor realizes that it is this expectation that makes the good place actually the bad place.
See? We've been torturing each other since the moment we arrived.
Idealizing human behavior, unrealistic expectations from human beings and their nature, and lack of freedom to do as one desires, which is essential for pursuing happiness. In that sense, if the socialist camping trip is the good place, then the capitalist camping trip seems to be the better place.